So, after some shenanigans with the 41st overall, we ended up with still three day two picks, but they were higher. We still could have had four though. All I have to say is the trade was fine. The trade down was fine because it gave us an extra second round pick. But why did we have to trade this third round pick? That value instantly made it on like the value scale better for Buffalo. Just because like 41 overall is pretty high. And the third round and the seventh round, like 56 and 62nd, along with the fourth round combined, is not a higher value. But it's two second round picks, and honestly, we weren't going to get as many as we wanted from the 39th overall. We probably would have traded down from the 39th overall and probably the 41st. Probably could have shot both, but we were running out of time, so that's why I call Luther Burden the third pick the panic best. Because he was probably the best guy on the draft board of the Chicago Bears. And they had like a couple minutes to send in pick. The ESPN thing is always a lie. And they were like, okay, nobody is accepting our offers for 39. We have another pick of 41. Let's trade back. So, they did trade back at 41, got 56-62, and the first pick in the fourth round. Hopefully, we'll get a running back off of that. Although I would prefer more offensive line. It's the fourth round. You never really know what you get there. After all, we got Braxton Jones in the fifth. So, yeah. While we probably didn't need a slot wide receiver, it's not like he was chosen in the first round. He was chosen in the second round, in which he was kind of, sort of expected to be a late first, early second. So, like, yeah. And outside of the guy that got accused of, well, sexual assault, he was the best player out there. So, just put it on there. Fun fact, that guy that was accused of sexual assault is now on the Ravens. Man, they just can't beat the allegations, but Luther Burden did not have the greatest 2024. Only about 600 yards, which is about half of what he got in the previous season in 2023, where he had 1,200 yards for a Missouri team. There isn't really anything of note other than, slot wide receiver. And his most notable thing was like he got snubbed for something from, I don't know, maybe it was the combine, I'm not sure, but he went into he was apparently posted a picture on Instagram about going to practice at 1 a.m. Effort man. I like it. I hope he likes to stay here. So then with all the other picks, I think a lot of what the Bears wanted from the first 9 picks of the draft, all of the ones that the Bears wanted were gone. So they had to settle with apparently the fastest riser, according to the NFL insiders. They say that Loveland was the rising up, being better than Warren, and all the trade talk pretty much died until the 25th overall because we had already taken him without moving. And if he becomes a really great tight end, and we're able to run 2 tight end sets with Cole Kmet, with him under the rookie contract and Kmet under the regular contract, yeah, then great. That's amazing. I love offense, especially since our coaches are former tight ends coaches, so they have a bit more respect. And now Antoine Randall has his wide receiver of choice. So that's cool. But obviously, now they were going to be given more time. They had an extra 15 picks after all to, figure out what they wanted to do. And they settled on Ozzy Trapelo. Trapelo. I think, did I misspell his name? I hope I didn't. No, I didn't misspell him. He was he's a tackle out of Boston College, and the biggest thing about him is that, well, he's big, like 6'8". That's 2 inches taller than Colston Loveland, tall tight end. Yeah, he's 2 inches taller. This man, if he slimmed down 100 pounds, he probably could go play in the NBA. So, yeah, he's from Boston College, not necessarily the university in which I would think, oh yeah, Boston College, that definitely creates a lot of large men. The Northeast, I don't even know what kind of food in Massachusetts you would have had to get to 300 pounds, but I'm sure the amount of seafood that he ate definitely helped. But it was apparently it was originally Minnesota Houston pick. Who knows? And it just the value for him at that time was correct in a certain way. His pro comparisons apparently Rosengarten. Again, I'm not really the biggest know-how and offensive lineman. There were guys that were on the board that I could see that had much more pedigree, but I trust that Pauls knows what he's doing. I trust. So yeah, large man will hopefully be able to start day one if need be. Obviously, if we sign someone that actually can start, then sure, but hopefully you'll be able to learn with the other guys that are there. If he starts for a while, that's pretty cool. And then from the payoff, Buffalo's actual second round pick, Shamar Turner. Now, let's be honest, when we heard that first syllable, we were all like, oh shit. No, it's surely not. Okay. There's a couple names in there in that second to third round in which it started with she, and everyone's heart rate spiked to 500 for a split second. But he's definitely a strange defensive line prospect, specifically tackle from the University of Texas A&M. Now, Texas A&M produces a lot of large people, which makes sense. Have you seen the food down there? There's no wonder that you would eat so much. It's fucking good. No, I'm just kidding. Obviously, there's like body shape, sizes, whatever. But it's interesting because he is 5 inches shorter than our offensive lineman. And he's only 290 pounds. So definitely a much smaller defensive tackle prospect. Now, he might be a little overdrafted. Maybe. I'm not entirely sure. Obviously, we don't really know what the underlying stuff is. But there definitely were linemen that had a higher pedigree and more stats, obviously. But he is the guy the Bears chose, and once again, I will just default on we trust in King Poles, and that's pretty much all I have to say. He's somewhat there. I mean, his stats show that he didn't really do. He only had like 2 sacks this year, but he had 6 sacks in 2023, and well, you can't really count 2022. He is definitely much more. He definitely is a defensive tackle prospect of all time. That's for sure. But still, there's a lot. There's still a lot to be available in this draft. Can't really agree with the needs kicker. Get the fuck out. But yeah, I think even in the fact that we picked for our first two picks when we have desperate needs at both lines, our tight end and wide receiver, that was probably more of a the first one was more of a trust in the process and also trying to capitalize on a high riser at the later end of whatever. His interviews were probably a million times better than Shador. And then just picking the best guy available because no one wants to trade down with you at that specific pick. But getting at least one man on both sides of the line is nice. If they really do want to take a running back with their 4th or 5th round pick, then by all means do that. Get some competition in there because there's not much in there. Let's be honest here. Maybe they'll be able to pick up Scatabo, but I'm not entirely sure considering that there are still better running backs out there-ish. It depends on how you feel. But if you're looking stat-wise, he's better. If you're looking at actual technicalities, there's better guys. Yeah. I'm taller than most of these running backs. Because it just goes to show that running backs have been getting shorter. Which is fair. Completely fair. You gotta go fast. Yeah. If we take a running back, that's fine, but in reality, I do want more trench picks. Like, if we take an edge and we take another tackle, just put a flyer out there, and then if they want to go running back for one of the other picks, then that's fine by me. But yeah. And before I go and probably go to sleep, because the reason why I was originally going to do all 3 days of the draft, but I am currently sick. I feel better now, but like at the beginning of the draft, my head was not in the right spot. Thankfully, it has died down, despite the fact that I haven't even taken ibuprofen. And I don't have dry mouth. Like, a dry throat, I guess, is the correct term. Feel better. I feel much better now, but I won't do day 3. That's too long. But, yes. The round is over. Shador is still not picked. It has gone from 12.25 for him not getting picked in the first round to being the entire world, my 12.25 for him not getting drafted in the first round to everyone's July 4th for him not getting picked on day 2. That man is toast. I don't know what the fuck he said in those interviews. It's clear that there were something had happened in those interviews from the leaks that we're getting, off the internet. They're slightly trustworthy, considering that what the fuck we just saw. But if really nobody is going to take you and they're going to trust fucking Dylan Gabriel over you. Now, let's be honest here. The Browns took Dylan Gabriel. If it was any other organization, even the fucking Saints, I'm pretty sure they would have taken... the Saints had already taken a quarterback. If it was the Rams, they probably would be taking either Will Howard or Quinn Edwards or Kyle McCord or Leonard or Brady Cook or Graham Mertz or Seth Hennigan or Cam Miller or Chris Roick or Max Rosmer or Taylor, Elsma, or Udeli, or Melmont, or Thorne. Any of those quarterbacks are going to get drafted over Shador at this rate. Shit, they might be signed before him. And Taylor is definitely an elite name, considering that he's from London, Ontario. Wait. That man's 6'6"? Ah, damn. Where's that one coach that really loves tall quarterbacks? If that man got into the NFL like 20 years ago, he would have been drafted first overall. Sorry, Taylor. But yeah, we shall see. We shall see. The Bears have 3 more picks unless they do some more finicky trades with that 4th round pick. Probably not. They probably just take whoever the fuck they think is better. Once again, another day of the draft has gone by. Another whimsical day of sitting on the couch waiting for the Bears' name to be called. Being shocked at the fact that they trade down when none of the guys would have been great to pick anyway. And being done with the draft by the end of the 2nd round. You know, and for that, I thank the Bears for allowing me to get away from the couch an hour early. So thanks, guys. I appreciate it. Also, I think it's funny how Roger Goodell is sitting there stewing in the Pat McAfee basement. Well, not basement anymore, but like the outhouse. And he's stewing in there saying, I want to make this draft shorter. By the way, this is one of the more shorter drafts. I'm able to actually record this at 11 p.m. Central Time. And, you know, it to be done before then is actually a miracle. I thought it'd be up until like midnight waiting for the draft to be over. But it definitely is something when the commissioner says it's too short. But they can't really do jack shit because ESPN kind of controls like the first 60-ish picks. And then they kind of just don't give a fuck about showing it anymore. They showed the Bears. That was the only one that they showed in like the later 2nd round part. They showed the Bears, not the other ones. So that's something. That is certainly something. Hopefully tomorrow is better. Or, well, for me at least. I hope I feel better by tomorrow. Hopefully we're able to find some diamonds in the rough. Some line play, maybe a running back will be helpful. And as always, in God King Pauls we trust. That he makes the correct decisions. We'll either look back at this a year from now and go, wow, they're stupid. Those guys were way better than we thought they would be. Or, wow, these guys are stupid. They were so easily identifiable busts. I don't know what you're talking about. Anyway, we'll see you guys tomorrow. I cannot do that same stupid shit.